I'm doing the filming.
I don't care if you're doing the filming. I've asked you not to film this building.
Yeah, but it was a little building.
I don't care.
It was a little...
Okay, they're on their way to see you now, right?
But what about my drone?
I don't care about your drone.
Yeah, but I've come
no
along...
permission
to
film this building.
I've come a long way on my bike.
I don't care.
I go round, I take like videos and drone footage, and then I put them on the World Wide Web.
Yeah, but you've had no permission to come onto this site, and you were filming on this site without permission.
No, I only come on the site to knock on the door, but I think you came out, didn't you?
But you've been videoing on this site without permission.
No,
right?
I came through.
I watched you.
No, but I came through.
I watched you.
But there was no barrier down. If there was a barrier down, I wouldn't have come in.
A barrier tells you it's a secure private premises, yeah?
No, it wasn't. It's not secure.
The video kicks off with the auditor immediately facing accusations of filming on the premises. But he clears it up straight away. He only stepped onto the site to knock on the door. The barrier wasn't even down, meaning there was no clear sign that entry was restricted. And under UK trespass laws, someone can only be considered a trespasser if they knowingly enter a private space without permission. Even then, trespass is a civil matter, not a criminal offense, unless aggravated circumstances apply. In this case, there were no physical security measures stopping access, and the auditor's only action was approaching to make contact. There's nothing unlawful about that. Instead of admitting their own mistake, the officers tried to spin it back onto the auditor, when in reality, it was their responsibility to properly secure the site if access was genuinely restricted.
I'm not getting into it because the police, they just said they see you through the window and they're coming over to see you.
Yeah, but I'm only doing a little video.
Oh, no interest in me.
What's your name, sorry?
I didn't give my name.
What's your name?
I don't need to give you my name, do I?
Well, at the moment, we've been called. I don't know if you know anything about Concordia, but having had a chat to the manager here, it's quite a secure building, all right?
Yeah.
You're not allowed on there. That's come from him.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's politely asked you to move on and obviously stop recording because of the nature of the supplies and the goods within the site.
When police finally arrive, they don't start by assessing whether any law has actually been broken. Instead, the officer simply parrots the worker's demand, telling the auditor to stop recording. That's a clear failure in policing. Rather than upholding legal rights, the officer acts as nothing more than a mouthpiece for the business that a competent officer would have started with the basics. Is the auditor committing an offense? The answer is no. Public photography is not a crime, and unless there are specific legal restrictions in place, no business has the authority to dictate what can or cannot be filmed from public space.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know what the company is because I got it off the internet.
There we go. So in this situation, the best thing we can do is just ask you to move on. All right. Not record. Obviously from here, they're asking you not to do it. Right. At the moment, he's saying that in the building and the business itself, they do obviously supply quite high secure goods. Across the world on flights, and at the moment it's just not appropriate, and obviously that's where we are with it. Okay, now in terms of what we're going to do as police is we're going to do the same. We're just going to ask you to politely move on, just to obviously prevent any breach of the peace, just to move on, go on your push bike and go and film a different place that is going to allow you to do that.
This is outrageous. The auditor is fully within his rights to record from this location, both with his handheld camera and his drone. Yet the officer instructs him to leave, despite no law being broken. This is a textbook example of police siding with a business rather than upholding public rights. Instead of enforcing the law impartially, the officer frames the auditor himself as the problem, as if his mere presence could somehow amount to a breach of the peace. That's not policing, that's appeasement. By doing exactly what the business wants, she hands them an unlawful victory, the removal of a person who was legally exercising his rights.
Okay, and then it's just going to be end of sport. We will leave you to it. Okay, ultimately what we could potentially be facing is that if you're going to refuse to do that and allow for this business to move on with their day, we could be looking at other things then, couldn't we? Because what's happening here is this company now have had to send out managers and staff to obviously come and deal with yourself, and they're just kindly asking you, can you please stop filming?
Yeah, but I'm doing photography in a public place. I'm allowed.
What they're saying is,
I'm allowed.
You by all means,
I'm allowed.
go the other side of the road. Obviously.
That's what I said I was going to do. I said I'm going to be over there.
Yeah.
Over there on that footpath.
You've asked to use their toilet. You're not allowed to do that.
No, I'm not going to.
You've asked to go in and have a tour. You're not allowed to do it. Okay. There are rules in life that you have to follow.
No, right? I said to him. I said
for you to ask where the toilet is, if I can use the toilet, can I come in and have a tour? It's a no.
Now the officer pushes things even further, telling the auditor, who is already on public land, to move across the road. There is no legal basis for this demand, yet she insists, treating him as though he's in the wrong. Her tone turns patronizing, lecturing him that there are rules in life you have to follow, as if exercising his legal rights is somehow breaking them. At this point, it's crystal clear she's not acting as an impartial officer of the law. She's acting as backup for the workers, trying to pressure the auditor into leaving, not because of any offense, but simply to make the business feel more comfortable.
All right.
No, I know you said no. That's no problem.
Get into it,
I'm not going to. I just asked him. I said, look, any chance I can use your toilet? He said, you must be joking. I said, fine.
Yeah.
I said, as I'm here, you know, would you like to give me a guided tour? I've got high vis. He said, no.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
Right.
But I just want to go on a public footpath and do my video and a little bit of drone footage.
He's not going to. He's not going to allow for the drone footage.
He doesn't own the airspace, officer.
But the problem is that as the manager, he's being quite respectful and polite to you, isn't he? And he's just saying, please sir, can you not do this, all right? Obviously, he knows a lot more than me and you about this company, all right? And he's saying that in the building itself, it's obviously quite a high secure place where they provide goods and materials to put on flights to travel, right?
The officer now relays yet another baseless claim, saying the worker isn't going to allow the drone to fly. But that statement holds absolutely no legal weight. Workers have no authority over airspace. Unless the site is in legally restricted airspace under Civil Aviation Authority rules, nobody can dictate whether a drone can fly overhead. The auditor quickly shuts this down, reminding them that the worker doesn't own the sky. And then comes the kicker. The officer repeats the claim that this is supposedly a high secure place. The irony couldn't be clearer. If this were truly a secure facility, why was the barrier left open? Why was there no visible security presence? Why was the auditor able to walk right up and knock on the door? A genuinely secure site has clear restrictions, controlled access, and proper enforcement, not an open gate and a panic phone call to the police. What we're seeing here isn't security. It's improvisation, with officers making up rules on the spot to appease the business.
I'm allowed to photograph in a public area.
I'm not saying you're not allowed to photograph.
I'm allowed.
Go over there then.
That's what I said I'll do.
Make yourself sparse, obviously take photos and stuff, but please don't go putting a drone up. We've got our headquarters there. That's our police headquarters. I don't know if you're aware of that.
No.
Right, that's our police headquarters there for Gwent Police.
But I'm not doing Gwent Police, so, I'm doing...
But obviously, as you can see, there's only a matter of metres between these buildings, okay? So Concordia, they're obviously quite a high secure building. We've got our premises there as Gwent Police.
But I'm allowed to do my drone footage. I'm allowed to do my drone footage.
To justify her demand, the officer then tries a new angle, claiming that because police headquarters is right next to the site, the auditor somehow can't fly his drone. But that argument is completely misleading. Proximity to a police station does not automatically create a no-fly zone. If there were genuine legal restrictions in place, the officer would be citing legislation or Civil Aviation Authority regulations. Instead, she's simply making requests, which exposes the truth. There's no law to enforce here. This is a textbook case of police overreach. Rather than upholding rights, she's inventing barriers to discourage lawful activity. But the auditor doesn't budge. He pushes back, making it clear that his drone flight is entirely legal, and the officer's concerns have no legal foundation whatsoever.
The CAA they have different zones in the UK. They have like red zones and
I'm
amber zones.
I'm not a drone officer, but I can certainly check with the drone officer if that's where we're going to get to. However, I feel that that's a little bit unnecessary for now. All right, and I think that what the best option here is just for you to obviously move on as you've been asked by a couple of people now. All right, just move on, get on with your day. And this
is my day. I'm allowed. I'm not being...
Like I said, just go across the way then, and obviously.
I was going to go across
across the way there. There's many other buildings on industrial estates that you can use. And you can photograph.
I will do them, but I was here, and what you're telling me is that because he don't like it,
it's not a case of him not liking it. He's the manager, isn't he? And what he's saying is that because of the nature of the materials and the goods that are inside of this building.
But it's not unlawful to do photography. It's just a public place.
It's again with that company. The company are asking you not to do it.
The officer then claims that because of the nature of the materials and goods inside the building, The staff don't want filming. But here's the problem. They said inside. The auditor isn't inside the building. He's outside, in a public space, where no expectation of privacy applies. That if the materials are truly so sensitive, it's the company's responsibility to secure them, not the public's duty to avoid looking in their direction. As the officer struggles to justify this nonsense, she begins stuttering. A clear sign she's making it up as she goes at this point. It's obvious this has nothing to do with law enforcement. It's about appeasing a business, even if it means inventing rules that don't exist.
Yeah, I'm allowed though.
Let's not be awkward.
No.
Let's not make things difficult because otherwise they're going to end up difficult, okay?
Why?
But because of obviously the sort of attitude that you're giving.
All I'm doing is exercising my rights to film in a public area.
But like I've just said, the company are saying to you, you're not allowed to do it. Please don't do it because our business has things in there that we don't want publicised across the internet and stuff.
Now the officer's mask completely slips. She issues what sounds like a thinly veiled threat, telling the auditor, "Let's not make things difficult, or they are going to end up difficult." When the auditor rightly asks why, she responds, "Because of the attitude you're giving." But let's break this down. What attitude? The auditor has remained calm, reasonable, and simply defended his rights. He hasn't been aggressive. He hasn't obstructed anyone. And he certainly hasn't committed a crime. The only attitude here is his refusal to roll over when the officer keeps pushing an unlawful agenda. At this point, her policing isn't just poor, it's blatantly biased. Instead of telling the business that public filming is legal, instead of clarifying that no law is being broken, she escalates the situation. She makes unnecessary threats, and she tries to punish the auditor for standing his ground.
The thing
Do you
is,
understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but I'm also exercising my rights, okay, lawful rights, as a citizen in England and Wales. I'm allowed to take photography in a public place unless...
Photography is different to drone though.
No, that's my first point. My second point is I'm allowed to put a drone up over any place unless it's in a flight restriction zone. And I've got a CAA app that tells me I'm allowed. And you're telling me I'm not. Now that's not lawful.
This moment highlights the stark contrast between the two. The auditor relies on facts and legal sources, while the officer leans on baseless claims designed to discourage him. Instead of admitting she has no authority to ban drone flights in unrestricted airspace, she continues to wrongly assert control with nothing to back it up under UK drone laws. Pilots are free to fly in any area not marked as restricted, so long as they comply with Civil Aviation Authority regulations. The CAA app provides real-time, official airspace data, and if it shows the area as unrestricted, that is the LAW.BY telling the auditor he cannot fly here, despite the CAA confirming he can, the officer is essentially trying to override aviation law with her personal opinion. That's not just poor policing. That's a direct clash between legal authority and unlawful overreach.
If you stop me, if you prevent me from doing that...
You're completely confusing what I've said. What I've said to you is that business are asking you not to. Alright, they don't want you doing it. So can you not just respect that and be, respectful towards everybody involved here and just please just take your photographs, but they just don't want to drone up, okay?
But I am being respectful. I mean, I'm not getting into an argument or any conflict with you guys, but I am allowed to put a drone up, and you're saying, well, be respectful to them and don't put one up. But I'm allowed, and it's my right. It's my right to put a drone up in a public area.
At this stage, the officer isn't even pretending to enforce the law. She's policing based on emotion, implying that the auditor is disrespectful simply for exercising a right that makes the business uncomfortable. That's a dangerous precedent. It suggests laws only matter when they don't upset people. If the officer were impartial, she'd be educating the business about public rights, not pressuring the auditor into compliance. By framing it this way, she's twisting the narrative, making it seem like the auditor is in the wrong for not doing what the business wants, despite the fact he has broken no law whatsoever.